In today's lesson, we're going to continue talking about the cross ropes and how to use them at different ranges in boxing. In our previous video, we discussed how to behave in the middle distance to improve your game there, and now we're going to talk about my specialty and my favorite distance, the inside. Using the cross ropes can take your inside game to the next level because you can practice your traffic, you can practice controlling your opponent's arms and creating opportunities where you can punch. Hopefully in today's lesson, I give you a bunch of drills that'll help you learn and improve so you can succeed when you fight. At the three ranges of boxing, there are three different things for you to pay attention to tactically for you to succeed at those ranges. When we're on the inside, those three things in order are establishing a safe head position, creating traffic on your opponent's arms, and creating space on your terms. Your first priority is to establish a safe position for your head. Now, the safest positions for your head are the shoulders, the chest, and the hips. In all of these positions, your opponent cannot hit you powerfully. They don't have enough room. It's tough to generate power punching into my own chest, punching at my own shoulder, or trying to find space punching towards myself at my hips. This is how you get inside of the arc of a shot so that you don't get harmed. Now, the gold standard for these positions is the shoulder. Whether you're inside or outside the shoulder, you can work from here, and your opponent cannot easily break your posture or exert force on you like they can in the other positions. You put your head in somebody's chest, a wonderful position to be in, but it's easy for your opponent to frame you out off of your neck or off of your guard. You put your head on somebody's hips, once again, a safe position for you to be in, but it's easy for your opponent to frame and break your posture, and you certainly can't be offensive from there. Our next priority is to create traffic on our opponent's arms. Now, notice here I specifically say arms. I don't say fists, hands, or gloves. That's because there are lots of ways that I can create traffic that stop somebody from starting a punch, that interrupt the trajectory of a punch, that don't have me interacting with my opponent's fist directly. This can be as easy as placing my hand on their shoulder or even cupping their elbow like we do in our default inside stance. And our final priority when we're on the inside is to create space on your terms. You need to create room for your punches. You need to create room for offense. It's not just about defense. Now, when I'm chest to chest or shoulder to shoulder with somebody, I'm in a safe position. I need to get into an exchange and then I need to return to that safe position. This is the same thing we do on the outside, where we're outside of punch range, safe, we dip our foot in and then we get out before we're punished for that. It's the same thing in reverse when you're working on the inside. Our basic inside stance checks all of these boxes. My head is in a safe position on my opponent's lead shoulder. My back is acting as traffic to my opponent's right hand. My right hand cupping their elbow acts as traffic to their left hand. And I'm in a position where we're so compressed and tight that nobody can really generate any meaningful offense without one of us taking the initiative and creating space. It's really important to remember that we don't create rules based on this stance. This stance exists based on these rules and these tactics. While it's really nice that the three distances of boxing all have three main tactics for you to focus on to succeed, if I could add a fourth bullet point to the inside, I would say it's small punch, big punch. If you're trying to create enough space and time to land one big haymaker, you're never going to succeed with that. It's really important that you land a small shot to tee them up, create space and outposition them, and then you follow it up with a big shot. If you do this, you will certainly have more success. The cross ropes are specifically for practicing this second tactic, which is creating traffic between you and your vitals and the ropes or your opponent's arms at all times. Unless you're punching, there should be some sort of obstruction or control on your opponent's arms so that you're not getting lit up. Let's talk about 5 different ways that we can create this traffic. Our first piece of traffic that we're going to discuss is our back. Now, in our basic inside stance, our back is really doing the heavy lifting here. It bisects our opponent, it chops them right in half, and it allows us in front of ourselves to only have to deal with their left hand, and it takes their power side, their rear hand, out of the equation. I've said this many times before when I talk about our half guard video, for example. You should use your back like a big turtle shell, like a big shield to protect you, to act as traffic, to obstruct big punches from your opponent. When I'm using my back on the ropes, I am literally jamming my shoulder right up into this little vertices so that this red rope, or my opponent's right hand, cannot get to my vital targets. Our next piece of traffic is our guard. Whether I am creating traffic at the source of a punch or at the point of impact of a punch, it's still an obstruction in the path of that shot. While I'm not supposed to be specifically focusing on the middle distance with these drills, if you snap into the middle distance guard, wedge those forearms right up against the ropes, this is creating traffic on my opponent's right and left arms, which is what the ropes represent. Our third tactic for creating traffic is framing. Some people, they'll do a C grip on the bicep in MMA or in wrestling. They'll do a bicep tie where they hook like a gooseneck on your hand, the crux of the person's elbow or their bicep. Other people, you look at Sandy Sadler, you look at George Foreman, you look at Archie Moore, they'll just throw their whole forearm out there into the crook of the elbow right there, all right? I love Jack Johnson. When we've talked about Jack Johnson before, we've talked about the wheel technique. In some Kung Fu martial arts, they talk about the wheel as a revolving point of obstruction around your vitals. I can kind of think about the wheel on here, and I can steer and keep a barrier between my opponent's arms, represented here by the ropes, and my vitals. This also gives me inside position to be able to punch, very, very similar to a hockey fight. Our next form of traffic is to establish an overhook on our opponents. So we've talked extensively about overhooks and underhooks in our previous videos on inside fighting, but a quick refresher. On the rope, I'm wrapping my arm over the top. When I'm on top, I can use this to drag this person down or steer them to my overhooking side. I can also use this to drag their arm and their defenses away from their body. And because it's an overhook, I am over their hand, I am on top, I have an unobstructed path to come through and hit them on the head. Roberto Duran uses overhooks better than any fighter I've ever seen on the inside to drag opponents' hands away from them and create opportunities to attack. Our fifth and final example of traffic to complement our overhook is our underhook. My underhook, I am scooping underneath my opponent's arm. I can use this to steer them to the far side of my underhook. I can use this to lift them up out of base. I can use this to create an opportunity for me to drop step and exit, move laterally around them. And this also gives me an unobstructed path to work my opponent's body. One of the hardest adjustments for people to make on the inside is that they do not have the space, the room, and the time to structure their nice, clean 1 through 6 punches. It's hard to find room for a nice, clean 6, or your opponent's created an obstruction or traffic. You need to develop your punches in a way where they're all-terrain, where they're suited for this unique situation. You might have to navigate around arms, you might have to go over and under. And because of this, I need to practice timing my fist with my hip while throwing odd punches. Punches like overhands, punches like shovel hooks, punches like short rips are going to be important things to practice, and the ropes can help us with that too. You need to be hunting for opportunities to find shots that pierce these 3 vertices that you're not occupying on the crossed ropes. You should be able to find these shots both over the rope and under the rope, and you need to practice alternating traffic on one side, attack with the other, switching, and trying to find a flow where you keep that going and are staying busy. Remember, when we're using the crossed ropes, it's representing that second important tactic on the inside, creating traffic on our opponent's arms. But we still need to find a way to get safe head position and to manage distance very carefully. So there's not a lot of weightiness that you run into on the inside when you're practicing with the cross ropes. It's just you and your imagination. So it's really, really important to complement that drill with inside drills on the heavy bag. By their powers combined, you've got all of your tactics and techniques on the inside represented, and you can drill them solo. It's important to remember that you learn boxing from the outside in. You're not going to feel comfortable on the inside until you feel comfortable in the middle distance, and you're not going to feel comfortable in the middle distance until you feel comfortable on the outside. And that's because the nearer you get to somebody, the more quickly and aggressively you are punished for mistakes and poor positioning. When I'm way on the outside, I've got lots of lead time if I make a mistake, and if I'm a good, quick, reactive athlete, I can fix that mistake. But when I'm in close, I'm immediately punished for those errors. So be kind to yourself as you do all this drilling, but also give it the respect it deserves, that it must be drilled. My old coach and mentor, Bob Miller, used to say if the only time you're practicing something is in sparring, you're not practicing it enough to improve. So you need to practice this on the heavy bag, and you need to practice this on the crossed ropes, and soon you'll be a killer on the inside and you'll find success when you fight. Same as outside, blah, blah, blah. I'm an excellent script writer.